Genji 2 is an action game which is based on Japanese history. Being based on history, the stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab. Enemy crab. Giant enemy crab.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of Giant Enemy Crab Podcast, where we're doing games and gaming news. I'm Fliz. I'm joined by my longtime friends at this point, Tsun and KylarEmiya.
Hello.
And we actually got the homie Strider to join. What's up, yo?
Hello.
I guess we're just doing gaming news and that's it, because we're all kind of addicts and nerds. I would say.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
dude. I don't know what to tell you, man.
It's been what, 5 minutes for getting labels?
Yeah,
like
labeled, slapped
do it
right
every
on
day,
there.
man.
If you, what would you
Fucking
call somebody who
barcode,
play?
mate.
Yeah, what would you call somebody who plays video games every day more than they do much of else?
A gamer.
Oh, okay, we're
The most
gamers.
impressed
That's
race
right.
of
Treat us with some respect.
gamers.
We're
gamers.
gamers. We kind of wanted to do this. We had the old Dancer's Paradise movie podcast, and as much as we love that, it's hard to find movies to talk about every week. Some are just not worth talking about, and it's a big waste of time.
Yeah. Plus, we've done a few recordings of us just talking about video games as well, just like Blizzard news and all the other stuff. So.
Yeah, you want more 2-hour full descriptions of Resident Evil 8?
God.
All the way through that. So yeah, we're just doing gaming news, and I guess maybe we could talk about like what we're playing lately, anything that we're recommending, anything that we're not recommending.
I know we've all been playing.
Yeah, because we're gamers. I don't even like. So how do we get into this? Like what's the big news lately? What have we all been playing that we're all kind of affected by?
Video game wise, I mean, there's like so many different things that are always out all the time. Honestly, a lot of the new tech is kind of what's been interesting, especially because I don't know how the next generation of consoles is kind of going to work.
Yeah.
Just because it seems like as time goes on, the consoles become less and less popular and less there's less point of it. There's not really much point in most of the consoles nowadays.
No, well, we kind of talked about this the other day, where it's just so much easier to get into PC gaming than it used to be. Like before, you had an Xbox or a PlayStation, and that was kind of it. And because you didn't have to know anything about setting stuff up, like you just plug and play. And now, we saw that exclusives are being removed, pretty much, at least by Sony, right?
Yeah, most of the exclusivity that Sony had on their IPs are gone. Or they've sold a lot of their IPs. Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, Jim.
I honestly couldn't even tell you. Like it used to be, the Final Fantasies and all that. Now that's just on Steam.
Oh yeah, they're on PC now.
Everything's on Steam. Overwatch on Steam. We all
Yeah.
Crash.
It's
We
more
talk
it's
about
like
that.
timed exclusivity right now. Is the big
Yeah.
thing.
Hey, you get the jump start.
It'll
and then,
come back. It come to PC gaming anywhere from 6 months to 18 months. Usually the time frame.
either
for,
with
like,
a good port or not.
Main party Sony stuff.
I think that's for the best, because there's plenty of stuff. Like I still haven't played God of War 2. And just I'm not buying a PS5 for that. I'm just not.
Are you talking
Yeah.
about Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Especially because they released the first one onto PC eventually anyway, so they'll probably do it again.
Oh yeah. No, they have to. It's so much money they're missing out on otherwise.
Surprised it hasn't yet, to be fair.
You know.
Well, yeah,
Unless
they're
they gotta
probably
go through
just
all that
trying to.
work.
It's that
Yeah.
timed exclusivity. They don't want to say anything because they want you to try and just get it on PlayStation 5. And
You gotta make a
then-
good port too.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
there's
pretty
probably
much.
contracts debating, like, or stipulating that like the game has to be exclusive to PlayStation for such and such months before you can change it to get people to buy more PlayStations.
I mean, yeah.
Good
there's
luck.
Like, because what was the time frame like for? What's a very recent one that came out? Ghost of Tsushima. That was what, three and a
it took a
half
while.
years?
Yeah, that took years. That game,
3 years,
I
something
enjoyed
like
that
that.
game though. The game's cool.
And I've heard very good things about the port too. That it was
Yeah,
very well done.
it's
Yeah.
outselling Senua right now, which just came out and everybody was so hyped for, and Tsushima's kicking
Senua
its
2.
ass. Yeah.
I just get Tsushima again. Let's go.
Dude, that game is pretty fucking good. Like,
I never played it. Is it like
it's good.
Is it
I can recommend it.
Can you? I've heard it. So it's more like story based. I kind of looked at it like it was Red Dead Redemption, but samurais.
Kind of, in a sense, yeah. I mean, you're fighting off the Mongol hordes on Tsushima.
Is it like super story driven?
I'd say fairly.
Yeah, fairly.
All right.
There's a lot of combat, like samurai combat, stealth, kind of ninja combat.
Okay. I might have to pick that up at some time. Now
I
that it's,
could definitely recommend it. It's pretty fucking cool.
It's probably a very similar gameplay loop, I would guess, of Red Dead Redemption, of like of open world free exploring stuff, followed by your missions with a bunch of side content to do.
I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about it. It seems like a good. I'm kind of surprised. It seems pretty new to release like a gold edition or deluxe or whatever, the ultimate edition. Like that game was out like 2 years ago. Yeah.
2020, I think.
Oh, jeez.
Mid 2020.
Yeah, no.
Maybe I'm just old and time goes faster than I expect it to.
Y'all sleep too much.
I do not. I don't sleep enough.
You cannot wait while
that's
enemies
true.
are nearby.
But
That
yeah,
message is always there.
the idea of console exclusivity is kind of going away, especially with like how all the major game companies are kind of
Everything's
they're
bad right
not
now.
monopolizing, but they're like getting bigger. They're just like slowly converging into
They're
just one big
conglomerates.
company.
Yeah.
Because with the whole Activision Microsoft transaction where they bought Activision Blizzard King, there were a lot of concerns on whether Call of Duty would become a Xbox exclusive deal. Like
I remember
they
that,
would
yeah.
they'd just take it away from Sony.
I never heard
So-
that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that
that
was
was
the worry.
a huge concern. So they said they wouldn't do it, but I think it's because they said that in order to avoid any like legal issues with the FTC of monopoly claims. Like that was the only reason they didn't do it, because they knew, yeah, if we
Appease
do
the
this, we're probably
overlords.
gonna be in a lot of legal trouble, and it's just not worth it.
Oh shit. I mean, they kind of yeah, no, it's obviously building towards a monopoly, which is weird because like I played Hi-Fi Rush. You guys got it for me to
Oh,
stream.
that game's great too.
That game
Yeah.
is straight fire, right?
It's so
like as
cool.
far as single player games, Hi-Fi Rush is like I would recommend that to anybody, you know, music based beat 'em up with a decent story, great character acting. Like that game is a solid 10 out of 10 in my opinion.
Fantastic soundtrack, of course.
Yeah, everything on there is great. And then Xbox is like, no, we're going to shut it. Not only that, man, that game came out with no advertising. It just went on
Yeah, they
word of
shadow
mouth
dropped
and just was out one day. And we're like, everybody's going to play this and see how good it is. And they did. And it got its own like grassroots advertising going. And it was only $30. Like everything about this game is fantastic. And then Xbox is like, no, we're shutting down that studio. We don't have the resources to run that. When you are Microsoft, what you have all the resources.
Oh man, smell any company.
No.
I mean, one of the things with Xbox is they want their Game Pass to be like their main selling
Yeah.
point, is what they're focusing. But like they're figuring like it's coming out that it's not really sustainable, because from what I understand, Game Pass like new subscribers numbers are stagnating.
Yeah,
Like
'cause
it's
I
not
can
getting
see
any
that.
bigger.
Well, there's
So they're
only
having
so
a
many
hard-
people, you know. It's the same thing with Netflix. Like
I mean, the big thing with like the difference between this and Netflix is like it's a lot longer to develop something, along the lines of a game than a movie
yeah,
or a show.
usually.
Like
Yeah.
it's like, because I think Hi-Fi Rush took 4 or 5 years, I want to say,
I mean,
Yeah.
in development.
It was
Yeah.
polished as hell though. Like,
Yeah, and it just didn't pull the numbers they needed.
which
Because
is
I would be
that's
very
crazy.
interested in seeing the like split of how many people played on Game Pass versus people that bought off different storefronts.
The only
Like,
reason
Yeah.
I played it on Steam is because my controller didn't work on Game
Yes.
Pass because I have a PlayStation. Fucking exclusivity, man.
And I was gonna help you try to do it, and you were like, "I don't want to do this." I'm like, "Fine, here, take it. I'll just buy you the game. It'll save me 20 minutes."
I
And
never
then we
even
had a
thought
good
about that.
time. Yeah, my PlayStation
Never
controller
thought-
doesn't work with a lot
Yeah, I
of
never
Xbox
thought
for
about
Game
that.
Pass stuff.
Oh, that makes sense, but sucks at the same time.
I mean, it works now. They added it in fairly recent after the game launched, or fairly soon after. Few patches in, I want to say, because that's how I ended up playing it.
Oh, on Game Pass?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, one of the weird things with oh god, excuse me. One of the weird things with those single player games is how how companies now kind of determine whether it's worth creating these games is they take the development costs, which includes like all the marketing and like, you know, how much time it took to create the game, and compare it to how much money that made. And they say, well, if we took that money and we had invested that back in however long the development time was in the stock market, if we didn't make more money making the game than we would have done that, then this is not worth it. Let's shut it down. And that's what an ex studio head at Square Enix had said. That's how they determine how that works and like whether it's worth even making these games anymore. So even if Hi-Fi Rush did like super well, if they could take all the money that development had made and just invested it like just straight into the stock market and made more money doing that, then they will say it's not worth it, even if they made like a huge profit.
My God.
That seems so crazy though, because like if you took that and you just used that every time, you'd stop making games entirely. You just invest back into the stock market. Like,
and that's why we have the development of games where, you know, they're just filled with microtransactions and they're free to make, but they just constantly make money and have a constant huge player base because they're free. That's why those games are so popular now, because numbers wise they make a shit ton of money.
yeah, it's everything. Like I played we had, what was it, Party Animals yesterday maybe? And I was shocked because there is a battle pass, but it was so like the you couldn't find it unless you were looking around for it. And I haven't played a game. It's like I think it's free. I think it's just like a level up thing, but it acts as a battle pass, which is, you know, if you don't know, you play the game more, you get more stuff, or you can pay a premium and get more stuff. All the good stuff's locked behind premium. Anyway, the point is every game now just shoves that in your face nonstop from the moment. Oh my God. We play Call of Duty. I couldn't even find the game for like a good 30 minutes. Like everything was like, buy this, check out these skins.
Yeah.
It spoiled me for movies I hadn't even seen yet and wasn't able to see. I couldn't, the frustration. But it seems like that live service with a battle pass and cosmetics and XP, all these things you can buy, is just every game is like that now.
Yeah,
I mean,
because what
dude,
you got to
like,
remember as well is when you are able to create a game like that with a either stable or growing player base, you immediately cut out the development cost because you don't have to make an entirely new game anymore. You know, you can just keep it out and just slowly add new stuff. And you don't even have to add it like consistently, just consistently enough to when you see the numbers dip too much, you release something to bring people back, and then you just copy and paste that formula. So you cut out the development costs. You almost only need marketing when your player investment has dropped, and then you just mix in just new skins or cosmetics or whatever, which are super easy to make. Like they'll literally hold onto those for like 2-3 years if they have to.
Oh yeah.
And the reason I know this is because a League of Legends developer and artist said that he had spent like 6 months just making the character Draven's swords, and he just that's it. Like it took him nothing. He did nothing. Like that's what he did for 6 months.
He drew a sword, and then
and League of Legends makes a shit ton of money.
Yeah,
them swords is cool though. They spin.
they do spin. Like I can see the the positive to it is like another positive is like if you play one of these live service games, right, and you unlock all this stuff, they can just keep, even if the content that they're releasing isn't really any good, you've already sunk so much time into the game that you keep coming back.
Yeah.
I see that with Final Fantasy 14, even though content is pretty good for Final Fantasy, but like a lot of the longer games I played, like I come back to them because I'm like, oh, I have so many hours in it and I have all these cosmetics and it feels like a waste of money and time if I just give up on that game. It's like a, what is it, cost sunk or sunk cost fallacy?
Sunken cost fallacy.
I want to go back. So like I look at all these games in Steam where I'm like, I have 700 hours in this, but I don't want to play it. But I do because there's a new update and I want that stuff. Need more stuff.
It felt like that was Smite.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I have that ultimate skin for Shock, dude.
I have so many battle passes that I bought for Smite and never finished because I was like, ooh, I want that skin at the very end. And I was, but I don't want to play Smite.
There were so many where I was like, I'm so close. And then I was like, I'm at Steam. Like, I just cannot finish.
Yeah, but with the like game meta, I guess if you want to call it, being just free to play live service games, it literally just counteracts the idea of having console exclusivity. So that's why like console is just not important. So
Yeah.
like
I mean-
it's pretty much just for mostly just kids, really. Just
At
so
this
they can
point,
have
yeah.
something to play games.
Yeah.
I guess,
and then
yeah, that
and then
doesn't work,
mobile
yeah.
devices too.
Yeah, I was
like
gonna
the
say,
Steam Deck or the
Mobile's
Switch.
huge.
I mean, mobile is almost bigger than like PC and console, right?
Are we
It
talking?
is
Are
by
we
far.
talking?
It's not even close.
Are we
It's
like
like
talking?
realistically?
Smartphone
Okay.
mobile, right?
Are we
Yeah.
talking smartphones or
Yeah.
are we talking actual like gaming devices?
Well, that's the thing. Is like
There's-
we've never like I've noticed that mobile gaming in like Android, iPhone type iOS isn't treated with the same amount of respect, but it's more profitable than console and PC gaming.
Yeah.
It just makes stupid amounts of money.
Everybody got phones.
I wonder how much of that is directly applied because like if I'm playing a game on my phone, there's a button that pops up and says, play again, $1, and it's connected to my bank account. It's easy to just click it and move on with my life. I don't have to look at anything. It's right there. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Because if PlayStation, like if Steam tells me, there's been times where I'm like, all right, I want more of this thing, but I have to go to Steam and open my wallet and apply funds and do this and I'm like, no, I'm good after that. Like you've already taken me through too many steps. I've lost interest. But on your phone, it ain't like that.
No, mobile gaming is, I'm pretty sure, like probably 90% of the actual gaming market, like worldwide.
That's usually Eastern markets, right? Like it's super huge in Asia and
Yeah.
Yeah, just because they spread like wildfire, like they go everywhere. Like if you are on anything on your phone, you are for sure going to get an ad about some game, and one of them will probably convince you to download it, and then you'll play it, and that game will have more ads for more games,
yeah.
and then you'll probably see one that you want to try, so you'll get that, and then just a never-ending cycle.
I think
of-
the mentality there is different as well. Like pay to win is accepted. Cheating to win is normal. Like winning at all costs is far more important than just being good at something.
Yeah, it's very less skill expression in mobile games. It's more just like, do you want to not waste as much time? Here,
Yeah.
spend some money.
Speed things up.
Yeah, that's kind of the
refill energy.
idea for a lot of. Yep, that's the idea behind a lot of the mobile games. But yeah, I think consoles are gonna start coming out a lot less frequently now. Besides maybe like again those Steam Decks and Switch type things.
I was
I
about
wonder
to
if we're
say,
gonna
Switch
see.
is coming.
Yeah, the new Switch is coming at some point. I wonder if we'll see more like variations of the Switch from Microsoft and Sony.
I mean,
Does-
I do mainly play mine in like handheld mode. It like as a mobile like handheld thing, it is nice. Like,
Does the Switch outsell PlayStation and Xbox or no?
Yes.
Does
I
it?
believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
I
I'm
believe
pretty
it's
sure.
by far the largest. I think is it the best selling console now of all time?
I don't know about of all time. I think of the current generation, yes.
Which is crazy because it it goes against not wanting exclusivity because I mean, in my opinion, the main reason for owning a Switch is because you can't get Nintendo games other places. Like you have to have the Switch.
That's true.
Yeah.
But also the Steam Deck, from what I can tell, is also very popular. I don't, yeah, I don't know what it is with that get people to get it.
Yeah, I'm confused about that too. I don't really see the appeal.
It's always
but
sitting up there in the top slot of like top sellers, which we talked about.
I know.
where it's might be based on total revenue generated rather than sales. or
with it
per
being so
number sales.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I pulled it up. It's outselling the PS5 and Xbox Series
Oh,
X
shit, really?
combined by a factor of 2. It sold almost it sold over
Wait,
140
That's
million copies.
crazy.
Is this the Steam Deck or the Switch?
The Switch.
Switch, right? Okay, yeah.
The Switch is the third best-selling thing of all time. It is.
Goddamn.
Third
It
best
is
selling thing, more than water.
Outsell water. Nintendo owns water now, fuckers. Get ready. Yeah, it's 15 million behind the PlayStation 2, which is the best-selling console of all time.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
the Nintendo DS is right behind the PlayStation 2.
Good old
It is
PS2,
third
man.
best. But it's also there's a chance it might outsell the the PlayStation 2 in its lifetime.
Jeez. Well,
Well, yeah, they're kind of the exception too, because the fact that you can only get Nintendo games on the Switch or like on mobile is kind of huge. No one else has actually managed to kind of do that. Because like I said, Xbox can't really do that with Call of Duty, which is a similar type of game. Where just like everyone knows what this is. Like everyone knows what Call of Duty is. Everyone knows who Mario is. Like
Yeah.
no one doesn't know, right? So they're kind of
Where's-
definitely an outlier.
Where's the Call of Duty Mario game?
dude, I think
mean,
kids would recognize Mario more than they would Jesus at this point. Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude. Do you think?
Probably.
What about like a Pokemon? You think they recognize Pikachu more than Jesus?
probably.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, Pokemon is what, the best-selling media franchise of all time?
I
I think it is like one
It
of the
is,
top
yeah.
ones, if not the top.
Yeah, my kid has never been to church, but she owns she got like 3 decks of Pokemon cards. Like, she knows.
Yeah, I think they're a bit of an outlier. Because other than that, I don't see PlayStation or Xbox kind of retaining any of the games that are unique to them anymore
Mhm.
at this point. Like Halo's already out, which they were like the big one. Now you can just get that on Steam. And
Oh yeah, true.
It's
The
whatever.
collection.
yeah, so they're probably gone.
Yeah.
But Microsoft's doing like some crazy stuff too. I don't know what direction they're going. They're going some weird places. They're opening new studios.
But they're shutting down
opening-
studios. They're like,
Yeah, they're shutting them down. They're trying to do this whole AI thing now too. With,
Leave
Okay.
a penny, take a penny.
so explain to me, because the most I know about AI in gaming is when League of Legends released that trailer and everybody got really mad because it was obvious, like people had 6 fingers in it and they're like, oh, this is all AI garbage. You didn't pay
No way,
any real artists to do
I
this.
never heard about that.
Oh no,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
That was
a
a
Brazilian
thing?
trailer for I think the championship or something. And
Oh,
the
shit.
first thing people noticed were like, oh, this is cool. Oh, wait, look at all these extra heads looking in different weird ways. And oh, this is AI. You guys could have paid somebody to make this nice, but you just cheapened it. It was
Yeah,
a
so,
bit
like,
of a backlash.
When you guys are mentioning like AI in video games, I thought you were talking about like like art and like sound and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know they were like
Oh,
looking
no.
to integrate it into like the functionality.
AI is one of those weird things because AI technology is something that once you've developed it enough, because it can kind of reiterate on itself, it grows exponentially.
Mhm.
And that's what we saw with AI art, where when it first came out, people just laughed at it because it looks like fucking garbage. Like,
It was
can't-
dude. It was
it can't make anything, right? A year later, we're worried that artists aren't going to have jobs anymore because it's just that good.
Well, the other part
and-
of that is like it pulls off of existing media. So it's
Yeah.
pulling from actual created art. It's not just pulling from its own created art. It's stealing basically.
Yeah,
It,
pretty
it
much. That's what it
It
does.
depends because it's based on like what was given to like its database.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's if it has like this art been dedicated or given and donated like willingly, or has it just been like scraping stuff? from artists who didn't want anything to do with that is.
Yeah.
And now
And-
it's in using their art as a basis to continue to build off.
At this point, it doesn't really matter because AI has it's gone way beyond art now. Like I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the accounting industry for accountants.
No.
No.
It's not during my
16%
purview.
of the accounting industry has quit in the last year.
Oh yeah, no, everybody's, I mean, if we're just talking about general AI, like writing, it's quickly becoming useless to be a writer.
Yep.
Art, anything that's like created and is subjective rather than object. Like if you can look at something and somebody has to say, based on their opinion, whether it's good or bad, all that stuff can pretty much be auto generated at this point.
And that's starting to go away too, which is where it can kind of get scary.
Really?
Yeah. So specifically in games, right? What they're trying to do is they're trying to add kind of the ChatGPT model to video games, where their example was if you're playing Minecraft and you forget the recipe on how to make like a steel sword or something,
Okay.
you ask the what they call the co-pilot, hey, how do I craft a steel sword in Minecraft? And it will tell you. And that's just integrated into the game. That's kind of like their example of like how it's going to work.
I don't hate that.
Huh. No, I don't.
Right.
I don't hate that. No.
Sounds pretty cool. Some of the kind of controversy behind it that you see people mention is that the agreement that they've put in for how this would work is that the model used in game will take the responses that you give it and basically use it to train the model more.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of use a lens to say, oh, so it's like scraping data from like kids playing Minecraft to train itself,
Yeah.
which isn't wrong, but also kind of like, oh shit, that's that's a way to word that.
It doesn't sound great
Dude.
when you say it out loud.
You make a
Yeah,
dumb
it doesn't.
AI.
But the other thing too is we're using AI now to help make and program games and other applications too, because AI can get very good at programming some stuff. And we already know that programmers are using it. They've done it for years.
Oh
like
yeah,
there's
no,
different
I've seen that.
there's very like minor ones that you can do, but now it's getting to the point where you can talk to it and it can create so much. And there was a study done, it was only the single study, where basically they took a bunch of programmers and used ChatGPT to help them write the code.
Okay.
And over 50% of the code that the AI generated was wrong.
Okay.
And
So non-functional.
it wasn't that it wasn't functional. Like it could run, it could compile, so you'd get like an output, but the AI would claim that it could do things that it couldn't do. And
Okay.
less than 50% of the programmers actually noticed.
Wow.
That's not a good sign.
That's not good. No, that is not good. So that's kind of worrying. And then also you have like Google and stuff. They're now introducing AI tech, and the sources that it gets its like training data from are just nonsense. Like you can tell that it's just something that they put together because it will. One of the examples I saw in an article was, "Hey Google, how can I make a pizza where the cheese doesn't always like fall off my pizza slices when I make it? Like, what can I do about that?" And it recommended that they just add glue to their pizza.
I mean,
Yeah,
was it
They're
wrong?
not wrong.
It's not
Was it
wrong,
wrong?
no.
It's
But
not
it doesn't
wrong,
understand the
but-
context.
Yeah. You cut to the easiest solution.
Yeah, it doesn't understand that you want to eat the pizza too.
So it's
Yeah.
missing context, but it okay, all right. I see where they're going. So this will only improve though. Like eventually AI will realize we're not trying to eat the glue on the pizza. We're give us another one.
Or
Yeah.
it'll double down.
I don't.
the glue is the side to the pizza, man.
Double
Should
down
simply
and start getting.
learn to eat glue, you dumbass.
The glue is to chase the pizza with.
It'll start being racist, as all AI has proven to become.
No, just keep it away from Twitter, man.
what was that AI that was released on Twitter? And then like
I-
within a few days, they immediately made it like super racist.
I
and,
think
like,
it made it less
was,
than
like-
48 hours, and it was
Yeah,
already.
it was all long.
Yeah.
it just started.
They had to put that thing
posting
down.
slurs,
Like-
within like 24 hours or something like that.
Yeah, poor thing.
Yeah, it's strange. It's a strange idea to just start incorporating it into like into video games and just seeing where it goes. Like it could do something,
Is it?
but it feels like it's more of just like the company Microsoft is just trying to say, "Hey, look, we got AI in our games," to
Is
their
it-
to their investors.
So it
Like,
doesn't quite do like, because I would expect like, hey, we have it generates landscapes and worlds, for the end, like
That's what I was thinking. Like,
yeah,
world
that's
building
kind of where I
stuff.
was thought. But if they're just using it to write code, that maybe works. So
yeah,
yeah.
it just sounds like it's not quite where we think it is, or
No,
where
it's like they're just buzz articles is what it feels like. Like
written by AI.
yeah, from what like
That's
Google
the trick.
AI can, like, just as an example, that example of the pizza thing. Like, this is what the AI that we have can do, and
Mhm.
it can just be garbage. Like, what is that really going to add to a lot of video games? Is kind of the question. It just feels more like Microsoft is just trying to tell investors that they're incorporating AI now into video games.
Well,
Like,
it can't-
that's all it is.
It can do something. I mean, haven't you been using Chat GPT to like play D&D, and it's actually interesting?
Yeah, it can. It can do that, but you quickly realize some of the faults when you play it. Because I've done that before, just as a pastime.
Yeah.
Just the
Because
mess
one of the
around.
thing is, like, the AI, it's kind of always on your side all the time. Like,
Mhm.
you can basically just do whatever you want, and it'll just write around you. It's
Ah.
not capable of actually creating tense scenarios for you, or even the capability that you fail is extremely difficult for it to get to. Like, it almost will never do it.
Wow.
It wants to be too like user friendly.
Yeah, and that has some
kind of.
a part of that has to do with the safety limits inherent to just Chat GPT specifically,
Yeah,
like
Yeah, I know
the
there's some
company
safety rules slapped
OpenAI.
on there.
Yeah, which they've gotten into some heat for recently. But one of the problems is when you start creating AI models that are designed to be negative towards humans and the actions they try to take, that's where things kind of get a little bit dangerous.
We're getting
And
into
that's
Skynet.
yeah,
that's
I
what
know
we get in the
there's been
rebellion.
talks at like the UN too about like developing similar AI for military technologies and basically training it to target other humans as hostile
Mhm.
is kind of a that's some Skynet shit right
Yeah.
there.
that's how the world ends. Like that is how the robot uprising happens.
So once we start scraping data on video games and how violent a lot of the most popular games tend to be, where's all that data going to go?
Just keep it away from Call of Duty, man.
No, Call of Duty gets everything.
It's
Teach-
interesting. I don't think it's going to actually end up being anything like crazy, but who knows? I honestly I can't envision like what you would even do with it that isn't
Well,
already
I-
be done already. Besides just doing the same thing, but just doing it easier with AI.
I kind of thought of like when you mentioned like incorporated games, like you could have like a truly like kind of everyone has their own unique procedural adventure because the AI would kind of write it as you go.
It's already
It
a
was
thing.
something I kind of pictured. I guess technically, yeah.
Yeah, like programmers have already done it. They've done that before. I mean, even the idea of just asking the game how to make a stone sword. Like there was old game Tom Clancy's End War.
Oh
you-
yes, yeah.
You could.
What is that?
It was an old RTS game.
Was that
right?
the one where you could use your voice? That was like one of
Yes.
the first instances of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
was completely voice controlled. You could control your armies and tell them where to move and what to do using nothing but your voice. And it worked too. It didn't work very well.
No, it
Sometimes
was
you couldn't
janky.
understand what you were saying, but it worked.
Because I played that one game that used voice recognition software on PlayStation 2 with the lady in the spaceship, and that game did
Yes.
not work. You would scream
Dude.
obscenities at her, and she would just get mad. This door? No, you.
Dude. What's funny is if you say it with like a specific type of accent, It will understand you.
recognizes words better if you're racist.
It recognizes, dude. No, legit. It like recognizes English.
Oh well, I mean, I can
like,
see that.
Like Japanese accent and English, I think it was much better at recognizing.
Yeah,
than
it
any
was.
other
It was
accent.
much better recognizing that.
That game came out before, like, a game like that was built in Japan by Japanese folks who, use Japanese voice actors, and like it makes sense that it was that way. Now I could see it being different, like I feel that'd be dope if they remade that game, and I'm sure there's stuff like it, but it actually
That's like in the old era of like like the Kinect doesn't work for certain people because of specific reasons, kind of deal.
what's that?
I'm not talking about it.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
You
I'm
too dark
lost
of a
too.
room.
And too dark of a. Oh, did the Kinect not recognize black people?
It
No.
had a problem.
It had problems.
with it. I know what
that
he's
was
talking
the
about now.
thing. That was the thing.
It'd be like, check your light. It's like, this is a bright room.
I'm surprised you never heard about that. To
Yeah,
be
I'm really
honest.
surprised you haven't.
Look, the only thing I knew about the Kinect is it came out. I went, there's like a dancing Star Wars thing, and then there was a Paranormal Activity movie that used it to, like, you can see the ghost with the lasers coming out of the Kinect, and then I never heard about it again. Like, that shit came and went. Like, it didn't work at all.
It was not very good.
It worked sometimes, but not great.
Well, that's all right. Well, I guess that's like the extent of my knowledge on AI, as far as it being used in video games.
Yeah, I hope what we're gonna see is that games come out faster because, according to Microsoft, their engineers specifically, like software engineers, are able to code like up to 55% faster. So, and again, the reason I said that whole huge caveat is like, well, AI statistically gets a lot wrong. I don't know for sure if that's going to translate. Yeah, it's faster, but is it better?
But that's the
check its
thing.
homework.
It'll learn over time, and it will become, sufficient.
Yeah, it's more just a handle on you have to upgrade the AI to be able to be a bit better.
Which I think they're actively, and this isn't just for video games, but like they actively have to limit what AI does. Like you can't just let it run rampant. Or are they?
Well, that's been another thing. OpenAI, the company, they're the ones who make ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They actually had a like safety council. Oh my gosh, what a difficult word. I don't remember what it was called. But basically that was their job, was to make sure that what OpenAI and ChatGPT was pursuing was in line with bettering humanity in general, rather than just replacing people. Is meant to augment like us and what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all quit.
That's what's crazy. Like, because this is what AI does. Like, you need to put superficial limiters on it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it can't just it's been created, and we know that like it'll reach, what is it, the singularity, where eventually it just realizes that, hey, maybe the best way to take care of people is to not have people. And this is, Terminator scare tactics and stuff.
That's some Soma. If you ever played Soma, that
oh my god, yes,
game.
Yeah.
But like the fact that they have to actually like stop. They have to, hey, okay, once you get to this point, AI, chill out, and we'll reconvene and go over what we learned. You can't just let it keep going.
Got to give you AI Ritalin to calm it down.
Pretty much. I mean, the one thing is, it's not an actual thinking artificial intelligence. I guess calling it an AI is not
I'm just simplifying
a good description. Yeah, it just basically regurgitates information you feed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess a lot of benefits is it's made a lot of improvements elsewhere, like outside of games. But
I can see that. I'd have to look into it more. I like it because now we're getting out of games. Games has left the conversation. Now we're just talking about AI like we know anything about it.
Right.
we're talking about it to the best of our knowledge.
To the best of our ability.
One thing that I was I'm gonna kind of push it forward. Have you guys heard anything about this Deadlock game?
Deadlock. That sounds familiar.
I know there's a
The
lot
one?
of leaked videos.
It's supposedly like Overwatch, but by Valve.
I think it
Yep.
was more a MOBA,
Overwatch by
wasn't it?
Valve.
Oh, is it
Yeah.
more League? Well, don't they?
It-
What is it really a
it's-
MOBA?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
supposed to be
because
in
it's supposed to
MOBA.
be 4 lanes, I think, from what I
Oh,
from what
it's
I've read.
Smite.
It's like 6v6, like um, MOBA hero shooter combination. I think it's leaning more into the MOBA than hero shooter.
6v6 third person hero based shooter.
Okay.
Yeah. I've seen one gameplay video because we've played Predecessor before, and one of the
Yeah.
things that Predecessor does to handle the ranged heroes is that at a certain distance, the bullet will just stop.
Yeah. It
And
just
distance is
vanishes.
is like a forgiving term because it's not really a distance. it's like it's very short.
Yeah.
There's a very clear auto attack range that you have.
Yeah.
In Deadlock, from the videos I've seen, that doesn't seem to exist.
Oh,
Oh shit.
It seems like an actual shooter. So I don't know how that would work because it makes sense how Predecessor does it, where like yeah, you can't bully like these melee champs, but if everyone is ranged, unless you know the melee champs have a way to deal with projectiles, that's where it kind of gets interesting.
no.
It's not
Can't
just
do worse than
another Smite.
Overwatch.
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe what happened to Overwatch on Steam. Everybody hates. The hate is
What is
insane.
ranking wise? What is it? Is it most like worst reviewed on Steam, or is it close?
It's definitely close. It's like
I know it's
you
it
can
has
pull
to
up
be.
pages of like worst games on Steam that are updated constantly, and it's been sitting up there in like third or second place for a while. I check that every once in a while. That game
That
is mad
development
hated.
is just a mess. I don't know what they're doing.
We're
Did you
gonna
hear
have-
like the latest thing that they did?
No, but I know we're gonna have to do a podcast entirely on Blizzard at some point. Just
Yeah.
to
Oh, dude.
just a deep dive, because that company has made me so sad.
They're a mess right now. Well, they had a new game mode. I think they called it the Gauntlet. It's like
Mhm.
a co-op PvE game mode, and
Ooh.
which sounds cool because Overwatch, like they've done that before. It's
It
supposed to be
sounds
like some
cool
kind of
'cause
wave defense thing.
It's what they
Um,
promised 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, they released it, and apparently they're getting rid of it now.
Nice.
Of course
Sounds
they
about
are.
right.
Like I don't know what it is with them, just like building all this new shit for the game, like because it's all new stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
this isn't just they just throw another map in there. This is all new things that they're adding, and then they just get rid of it. They done it with all the PVE skill talent trees and stuff that they showed off at BlizzCon, and here's another one. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Man, there's no way they do. Like,
I've never seen
They
cut
canceled
content be
BlizzCon too, which they never do, like almost ever.
What were you saying, Jacob?
I've never seen a game have cut content after it releases.
oh my god.
Well, wasn't there something where people paid for something and then they
There's
like
Redfall. There's
Oh my
Redfall,
God,
which
Redfall. What's
people,
going on with Redfall?
The game's done. They've canceled. They're canceling work on it, and people who bought the season pass aren't getting the stuff they
Oh
paid for.
shit.
Well, that's the same studio. They got their studio closed, right? The same one as
Oh,
Hi-Fi
yeah.
Rush,
Yes,
right?
but they've no. It's
Oh.
Arcane Studios.
Okay.
That was Tango GameWorks, I
Okay.
believe, is who it.
Oh, I
But
forgot
they
that
have
was
canceled.
Arcane.
They have completely canceled work on it. Like no one else is moving to work on it, and they're like, I think it had like one final update, but the season pass that you could buy just doesn't exist anymore.
See,
And I don't know if people got refunds or what.
part of me
Probably not.
is like, because when that game first came out, it's like oh my god, Borderlands with vampires, but worse, right? That's kind of how I saw it. But it came out and it was free on Game Pass, which if you don't have Game Pass, you can get it for $1 for a month. So basically, you could get this game for free, and we played it the day of release for maybe 2 hours, and every single person went, no, thank you. Like, this is not where it's at. And there's multiple videos of like just how buggy and terrible the game is if you continue playing it. And the fact that people would buy the battle pass or whatever for that is kind of astonishing. It's hard to see people spend more on stuff that is obviously not great when there's just such a glut of games and entertainment out there that's free or cheap or I don't know. That's not a game I feel specifically sad about people spending money on because that game is not good.
Oh, Redfall.
Redfall is not a good game.
Dude, that game is jank.
It does not work.
Nope.
But, I guess to each their own. I don't know.
Well, what did we play it for? Like a whole couple hours? And we were like, yeah, screw this.
Yeah, no, it was not worth continuing on whatsoever.
No.
Someone crashed, I think, which was why we just went, well, we're done.
I think it was you. I think you crashed.
I think.
And nobody wanted to wait to start back up.
I just looked it up, and apparently people will get a refund for that season pass.
Oh, good.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Eventually. One day.
Something about a credit program, I guess.
Oh, well, that's less fun.
Oh, you get more Redfall credits. You lucky boy.
Here's a second copy of Redfall.
I saw a mention of like a credit program, but then I just saw other things saying people will get a refund. They said it's like, okay,
Well, that's good. Okay, so
at
that's
least they're doing
something.
that.
Yeah, I can't be upset about that. Good for them. Still better than Overwatch.
Dude, Overwatch, man, look at all our PvE. Wait, it's not there.
I am kind of excited for a couple. There's a couple new studios that came out, so I'm curious what they're going to make. Because Activision has a new one now.
Okay.
That is purely focused on like story games, which is kind of interesting.
Interesting.
I guess that's well, we were talking about Microsoft, right? Where they just if it
Yeah,
doesn't
they just
make as
got a
much
ton
money,
of stuff. Yeah, they did. So they opened a new one for Activision specifically and they said they're going to be working on story games.
What is a good story game by Activision?
I don't know.
Because they do live service games like exclusively, don't they?
They do, but also Blizzard was apparently working on some kind of survival game. Like this was a few years ago. They announced this. They were hiring people for it, and that got canceled a couple years ago too. So I'm wondering if maybe this other studio's been working on that, and they're just reiterating it.
Man, all the goodwill Blizzard had.
Yeah, maybe they throw it under the Activision logo. Maybe people will play it.
Dude.
But I'm curious what that's going to be because it's been a while. So I can't tell you the last thing that I saw like a true Activision title that was story based only.
Well, they haven't. I think Overwatch is the last game they released at all. Like, I guess they don't actually release anything.
Technically, Sekiro falls under.
Yeah. Sekiro.
It was published by Activision.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
So there's one.
It's really funny because if you look at the list of like of Activision games in 2020, it's like all Call of Duty with a little bit of Crash, and then there's Sekiro. Like,
Sekiro shows up
at the top of the list.
Yeah, so something interesting there. I don't know if it'll be good or not, but we'll see. And then also there's that new Amazon game studio that's in Europe somewhere.
What are they working on? Anything yet?
I have no idea. They only announced like that they opened it, but it's being led by a Ubisoft developer. Which just sounds like a fucking nightmare. Just because Amazon's games have just been
New World.
Strange.
Oh my gosh.
Dude,
so bad.
Well, what else? So they released New World, which if you want a good time, just go watch some documentaries on YouTube about how bad New World is or was.
I was gonna say
it might be good now.
I've never really heard positives about New World. Like it's always been negatives.
Yeah, the game has been a shit show from start to finish. But what else have they? What else has Amazon done?
Do you remember Crucible?
No.
Oh shit!
Yep.
Crucible.
Oh, boy. What is Crucible?
I forgot about that.
This came out like a long time ago for like a little bit. It was
yeah, it was
a
like
limited release video game.
It was a third-person shooter that they'd worked on for like 6 years or something, right? They released a closed beta for it on June 30th. And then on October 9th, they just closed the game. It never came out beyond the closed beta.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Because it was just so terrible.
Oh.
I want to say visually very similar to like predecessor or Paragon.
And Paragon, yeah,
Yeah.
it looked pretty much the same, just different characters.
I think I
Graphics-wise, it
actually
was like the same game.
participated in the beta, and it was like jank as hell.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Just the entire structure of how the game was supposed to go was really confusing for it seemed. So it just did not even make for a great game basis, anyways. But then also New World was just a fucking oh my god. I've never seen a game mess up that much since like Fallout 76.
Yeah, it's in the
Dude,
they're in their category, but you know, what's the one that not Lost Planet, the game where you explore space, where
No Man's Sky?
No Man's
Starfield?
Sky. Yeah, No Man's
Okay.
Sky, New World, and the other one you said, man, those are like games that just bad from the start, but I think No Man's Sky is doing
No
Man's
really
Sky
good right
improved.
now. No
Yeah,
Man's
No
Sky,
Man's Sky
they
wasn't
lot.
that bad.
they fixed it.
No Man's Sky was a lot of lies. Was
Yeah.
the big
Yeah,
problem.
that was the problem with the game mostly. Like it ran kind of like shit, but the main problem was it was an entire lie on what the game was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That was like the big issue, and that
Yeah,
it
most of
actually
those
wasn't
features
too
were not.
bad when it came out.
Well, you know, he's built up a lot of goodwill fixing the game, and I guess what are they releasing next? Something that looks kind of interesting.
Light No Fire.
Yeah,
There's
that,
Light of Fire, yeah.
and what is that exactly? That's like a survival type?
Survival game that was supposed to be like an actual like world-size exploration.
That's cool. Yeah, I would think that those guys, I mean, with how No Man's Sky is looking now, would, you know, apply all their knowledge to a single planet
dude.
and make it work.
I mean,
I love. Was it the Game Awards where they announced it?
Yeah,
They let the
yes.
guy. They let the guy go up on stage, and he starts promising all this shit, and it's like flashbacks to
And it, like I should.
No Man's Sky.
Did he literally say like I should stop talking before I put my
Yes.
foot in my mouth? Like he made fun of himself.
Who is that? Toby something?
Toby Turner.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I forgot it.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah,
only-
I'm curious what
cautiously
this new
optimistic
studio is
about-
going to make.
I'm cautiously optimistic because, you know, you would think game devs would learn from previous things, but Paradox has told me that the exact same release cycle on all of their games
Yes, they
keeps
have.
happening, where it's the game launches, super scuffed, really buggy, barely functions, but by the time 3 years down the line with 12 DLC and you actually have a really functional, well thought out game, it just takes $300 of DLC and 4 years to get there, because they've done
Paradox
it
is
for
insane with that.
Victoria, they've done it for Hearts of Iron, they've done it for Stellaris, they did it. Well, they didn't do it for Imperium or Rome because that exploded. But like all of their main titles is usually the exact same release cycle. Crusader Kings.
Well, I
It's-
wonder how much of that is just because like game development is not like it's not a good line of work. Like it's game developers are not happy campers for the most part because of time crunches and all this, you know, totally stupid stuff. Like I don't that I guess affects shareholders, but the people who actually buy the product don't approve. You know, I don't want a $70 game that barely works and you promise you're going to fix it later, and then
It should be fixed now.
but we've kind of entered this cycle and been in it for a while where
Yeah.
people will just buy anything new regardless of whether it's even done or not, and that's just normal, you know.
It's really why, like, if I buy like early access, I'm going in with the mindset of like, yeah, this is going to change over time, but I want to be in on like the
The
development
games
cycle
aren't
now.
usually labeled as early access is the thing.
Yeah,
It's
No,
just-
Paradox is not.
$70 full
Shout out-
release.
Shoutouts to City Skyline 2, just being
Oh my god.
terrible on launch.
That's one I actually went and checked the Steam reviews because I was kind of interested. In every single review is just buy the first one and do the mods. This is not worth playing.
Yeah, no, they
Yeah.
they completely like they screwed up big time with 2 when they
I know
like,
that-
released.
I know the devs are the devs for City Skylines 2 already said that they're completely redoing how economy works, if that gives you any idea of how bad it is.
A game about economy and world
Yeah.
building. They're like, oh, let's
Running a
just,
city.
Let's
I
just
mean,
do it
it's-
again.
It's like super fake right now, from what
What
I
is it?
understand of the current mechanics. Is like it just kind of fake generates resources where they're needed if it thinks you have a well like your streets are developed well enough type thing. Like it's just there's no actual it's not simulating like trucks coming in with shipments, or or you producing the resources in your city type thing. It's just all fake
Oh, it just
Oh,
appears.
kind of
I
thing.
get
Yeah.
it. I get it. So it's like
Yes, yeah.
SimCity or some old SimCity where things they look like things were happening, but none of it's real. Everything's
From
just
what
on
I
a
understand,
timer.
it's just not how the first game did it. Was the big thing.
Ah,
So it's
okay.
just like a downgrade. Also,
Okay.
we were talking about Amazon games. One other big game they did, or at least had a hand in, was Lost Ark.
Oh,
Right, yeah.
that is.
Didn't they just
People like
publish
that.
it?
Yep.
Well, they
People
just
just
published Sekiro
published
as
it.
well, but
Yeah, they just published it. It wasn't from any. I don't think it was from any of their actual development studios. Because one of the big. Here's what's weird about Amazon games is their studios are so small. For how big Amazon is.
That's kind of crazy, right? Like Amazon, everybody has an
Yeah.
Amazon box in their house.
Like, it's weird because they specifically stated that their focus is to have development teams between the sizes of 5 to 30 people, which for a AAA game is like
yeah.
nothing. Like, holy shit.
Well, are
That
they
is-
actually going to be going for AAA games, or are they just kind of? I mean, I guess they're obviously not going to be indie, but like smaller, like better ideas, smaller games.
Well, from what they've been trying to make, like, you don't have 5 to 30 people make an MMO. No wonder the New World was such a disaster. Like, that's crazy.
yeah, that is pretty. I
Yeah,
don't.
that doesn't really
There's
make a
nothing
lot
really
of
to say
sense.
about
It's
that.
not a good equation to get things done properly.
And I don't know if like the developers they're hiring are experienced or whatever. Like, one of the things, just to give you an idea of how, I don't want to say amateur because like, I couldn't do this shit, but just like the issues that New World had, you could do programming code in the game's
Chat,
like chat.
and it would
Yeah.
affect the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Like, I have never seen that before happen in any game with such a like Amazon-ish logo on it,
yeah,
Like, that never happens.
that game had some huge problems. I think Lost Ark was fine, but it wasn't for me. I know that much.
So it took a long time to get to the real meat of what you wanted.
I know that me and Strider here were playing for a while, and then immediately we're like, this isn't even about the subject. This is just the game itself. But we played for a while, and then we were like, how much longer till it gets fun? And then we looked, and it doesn't get fun until you're done with the game. And that was like 30 more hours than I was willing to put in. I guess as far as is there anything you guys are interested in that's new and upcoming? I'm seeing that like they're gonna remake Resident Evil 1 pretty quick here. I mean I would assume they have to.
Cool.
I don't care. I love I've played every Resident Evil
5.
1.
Okay, because I thought they would do it. I've heard rumors about 5 being remade.
I hope 1 because I'm not a big fan
Interesting.
of 5.
I didn't mind
5 is a good co-op game.
5 is not a Resident
Evil
Evil game. Exactly. Yeah,
but it's
not.
It's a fun co-op game.
Yeah.
Shout outs to killing your partner with the lasers in your puzzle.
It was fun.
That shit was obnoxious.
The most I remember about 5 was 5 had mercenaries, right? Remember correctly?
I believe.
Mercenaries mode. I just remember playing the mercenaries mode a bunch after beating it.
I remember turning it off on my second playthrough and never going back.
Oh,
I played through all of 6.
I didn't.
I played through 5, and I remember that with me and my friend, when we got to the final boss, we had like maybe 14 handgun bullets and 3 shotgun shells.
Oh, you too? Dude, I had to kill him with flash grenades.
So I will remember fucking taking him on with knives.
Anyway, I'm excited about that. I love the franchise. The movies are terrible, but the games themselves will always hold like a special place in my heart. What else? That Suicide Squad game is trash. Nobody's buying that. Nobody wants to play it,
Yeah.
which we all expected.
Looking forward to the new F14 expansion.
Oh yeah,
6.
that'll be fun. What's this? Have you guys seen anything on the new Marvel like hero?
Oh, Marvel Heroes?
Marvel
I haven't seen anything new
Rivals.
No, nothing new.
And
Just know it exists.
That's a MOBA, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more a third-person hero shooter. I think.
It looks like a mix between third-person hero shooter and third-person MOBA.
Well, it looks like ass
from what I've
but-
seen. Ooh.
It doesn't look. It looks like bad Smite, which is rough.
I mean,
Question. Is it gonna be free to play?
He should be. I think that's.
We
the
should
plan.
try it then.
Oh, we'll
I mean-
definitely try it.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
one
thing-
Go ahead.
one big thing coming up is we have the Summer Games Fest coming up the early middle of next month, like the
Okay.
9th, right around there. So there should be a bunch of announcements soon. Because I think the Xbox Game Showcase is also around the same time.
All right. I know that
Okay.
I saw this is neither here nor there, but for anybody that actually listened this far, Epic Game Store is having their mega sale coming up, and right now you can get Dragon Age Inquisition for free on Epic Games, and that's one of 4 they're gonna do. So just a
I think
free
I got
game
that
if you
through.
want it.
I think I got it through a humble choice.
No, it's not like a brand new thing. I mean,
No, it's not. It's not.
And
So, I
a
mean,
quick PSA too. If you were looking to get new computer parts, like gaming parts or anything, probably try to do it soon because we're predicted to have a bunch of like anything that uses superconductors is going to go up in price here in a bit.
oh,
God.
what's going on there?
Again.
Yeah, because a while ago, a few years ago, there was a bunch of tariffs put on China for all of our imports and exports into the U.S. So this is U.S. exclusive at least.
Mhm.
But there was an exception done for anything with superconductors due to the superconductor shortage.
Okay.
And this is a 25% tariff too. So
Wow.
that's ending here soon. I don't know an exact date.
25%. That sounds insane.
25%.
That's
It is
intense.
insane. Yeah. So everything pretty much that has a superconductor in it, like most gaming PC parts, is going to go up approximately 25%.
Oh, jeez.
That's optimistic.
Yeah.
Dang, we're going back
that's
to-
that's just flat if that's all that happens. I'm
We're-
sure it's
we're
going to
going back
domino
to
affect a bunch of
2020.
other stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a lot. So
Back
especially
to-
with how like expensive a single part is.
Oh yeah, I really never want to pay $1,600 for a graphics card. That's
Yeah,
not
no.
what my life is
Really,
about.
no,
Yeah,
no, way,
no.
man.
Are we going back to the time of buying pre-builts, just scrapping the parts out of it?
I
It's fucking
almost
cheaper.
did. I almost did when one of my PC died, and I picked up that Alienware PC
my
from
God.
Best Buy just so I could stream. And I was this close to ripping that 3080 out of there and giving it back to them because you couldn't find them
Holy sh-
anywhere. And that
Yeah.
Alienware PC, I'd never buy that. That shit is garbage. That sounded like a
It was
jet
loud,
engine.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, super loud.
And it couldn't even run, like we were testing the graphical capabilities, and it couldn't run Overwatch at like the highest graphic. And I was like, this is a $3,000 setup right here. And if it can't do that, sorry, dogs. Yeah, never buy it. Alienware, I guess, used to be good. Then they got bought by Dell or something, and they just
Is
Yeah.
that what happened to them?
Yeah.
Oh, that was years
Oh.
ago.
This
yeah,
is old
definitely.
news, yeah, but it's not.
Well, no, I was gonna say like I remember they used to be good, and then like it was
Yeah,
a
when
lot
we were kids, it
now.
was like Alienware is the top, and it's
Yeah.
not that, and it hasn't been that way for a very long time.
Yeah, I
I'm
remember
not even
growing up,
sure
it
if
was like,
they ever really were.
Well, they
They-
made
They
it seem
definitely
like
had
they
brand
were,
recognition, though.
at the time they looked cool. That was what probably was what did it.
and they were expensive.
Yeah, that too. Big money.
Big money. I don't really like. There's not a whole lot I'm looking forward to right now.
Besides the new
Besides-
Elden Ring, that's about it.
that yeah, but even that is
Wait,
just an
EDF
expansion.
6.
Oh, EDF, yeah, but that's
Yeah.
kind of niche. Monster Hunter is also. I know it doesn't seem that way, but it's kind of niche for American crowds.
Not
Uh,
anymore.
I love
Not
Monster Hunter. It's
World I would say broke it from being a niche series.
I would agree there. Okay, yeah, you're right. I'll
But
rescind.
before that, for sure.
Yeah. I thought I would want to play. I mean, we're just kind of burning through games here, but I don't know what's wrong with Helldivers. I thought I would want to play that every day, all the time, and I just don't. And then also they had the whole.
yeah, they got some rough stuff going on right now.
I think they took that back though. Where
Did they stop the
yeah,
PSN thing?
Yeah,
Yep.
Helldivers apparently everybody bought the game and had a great time with it. And then PlayStation, it was strictly a PlayStation mandate where they said, or Sony, I guess, said, hey, you need a PSN login. And that locked certain entire countries from being able to play the game at all, even though they'd already purchased it. And everybody got real mad.
One weird thing that happened with that game is I guess the CEO for Arrowhead Studios stepped down as CEO so he could become the lead developer for the game.
The game director, I believe. Yeah.
Interesting.
That is
which
weird.
I've never seen before, like ever.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I wonder why that's. Oh, maybe we'll have to look into that because that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I guess he wanted to focus like on the game itself because I'm pretty sure they're a small studio. Like, there's not many of them in there.
Yeah, I mean, the game feels like it's a small studio. I mean, I guess I kind of mean that in a bad way, but it
very polished though. Like it's very skilled small studio.
I like the game, but there's not enough to keep me coming back, I guess, is where I'm going with that.
I think you're just not a fan of its gameplay loop.
I am. I guess not. I don't know. I'm struggling lately to enjoy anything for more than one playthrough or one session.
Yeah.
The only other thing I really have is I don't know if you guys ever played Tarkov. This is kind of old news, but Tarkov
Never got into it.
So it sounds like what they did is and if you don't know, Tarkov is like a really punishing Fortnite, like battle royale, but realistic and punishing.
Would you say it's like one of the
Hardcore
first extraction shooters?
Yeah,
I would say it's what popular as extraction shooters as a whole.
Get more stuff, leave the game with your stuff, bring it into the next game, die, lose all your stuff, get mad. Everybody I've ever seen stream Tarkov is mad. Anyway, they put out a PvE mode, and you had to pay like $150 to play the PvE. 200, really?
It was two things. It was either you paid $250 for like the Escape the Sunlight or whatever the fuck their new bundle was called, or you had the previous most expensive version at like 130, and you got lucky to be put in for testing for it.
Oh,
but no, because one of the big things was for the $130 edition, whatever it was, Escape Darkness or whatever that edition was called. One of their promises was that you would get all future DLC for the game free.
Oh, yeah.
But when they did the PvE thing, they said, since the game hasn't launched yet, it's not DLC. I forgot what the fuck, how they phrased it. It was like, it's actually a new game mode, not DLC. So we don't owe you shit.
That is
people
snaky.
were pissed.
Especially well, yeah, because this stupid legal garbage that is constant everywhere,
so scummy.
Of games going, no, we're not really a full release yet, but it's been out for 10-15 years. I hate that. I can't stand that. It seems like it's just a big loophole.
Another fun thing about like Escape from Tarkov is that like I think they say that like all developers that are working on the game have to like work from inside their offices, like in Russia or wherever.
Oh no!
I want to say so. Like that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only thing I'm seeing on that
there's no remote working.
Oh.
From what I have read.
The other part is that once they release that PvE stuff, they don't actually even have the server capacity for the people who bought the game at the expanded price. And they're like, whatever. Like, too bad.
Yep.
They were gonna say you guys can pay extra for it, but they're like, nah, we're just not gonna worry about it.
They don't want to put the work in.
Yeah. That's pretty much all I got. As far as like, do you guys have any more news about you're interested in?
I mean, just one thing I wanted to comment on was just like, because with the upcoming Summer Games Fest is like, this year's had like no new announcements.
Oh, really?
Like we've had very little that's been announced this year. Like we've had a bunch of stuff come out that was announced previous years, but like, what new things of the past few months have you heard that's coming that wasn't already known? Like we're kind of in a dead spot.
I got nothing.
Like there's nothing new that's been announced. Like it's all been stuff from like 9 months plus away. Like,
Yeah, there's it's weird. There's just so much out and nothing that's like interesting or peaking that hasn't already. Yeah, you're right. Nothing new is looking any more interesting than what's already been talked about.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it's just like stuff we've already seen anyways. And
Yep.
that's why it doesn't feel very new. It's like, oh, it's another one of these.
it's this thing that was shown off a year ago is finally out, but we haven't. There's nothing like coming out in 4 months for like this thing that's shown off, which is
Yeah.
why I'm excited for summer games, because we've had a
We're
very
like-
dry year of announcements so far.
Maybe we're overdue. We're
Not
gonna get like a
releases
big
so
old
far,
door.
though.
We're gonna get a big lore dump of announcements.
Yeah. And this is wait, who is this Steam or is this
It's
It's just anything,
Uh,
right?
yeah, it's basically anything, because this is the same event where Elden Ring was like gameplay was
okay.
first revealed.
Okay. And when is that?
It's like the 9th, about there, give or take a few days, I think.
Of next month?
Yep.
So
Or-
June 9th?
Yep, it's like
Yeah.
early June, I believe.
We might have to get together. Is that like a big like E3 type watch thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, let's watch that.
I hope we hear more about Kojima's new game. That one,
Oh,
that seems
dude.
interesting. He makes weird
I want to
games.
know real bad.
What is he what do we know about that so far?
Is he
Almost
working
nothing.
with it?
Okay.
Who's he working with again? Peel?
Yeah, he's working on Jordan.
Yeah,
Jordan
it's that
Peele.
good,
So
yeah.
so famed comedy and horror director plus Kojima. Okay, well, what was Kojima? Who was involved with the PT situation?
That was him.
That was
That was
Kojima.
Kojima, yeah.
Okay, so that's where my mind is. Where I'm like, oh, but you already promised me Silent Hill with Norman Reedus.
See,
And we
what
took
people
that
think
away.
too, because if you watch the announcement for it, how it was structured is like on the stage, they just had a solitary door
Uh-huh.
with a light above it. That was like, I think it was flickering or something. But people think that's a reference to PT that had the same thing where you start in that starting room
Yeah.
and there's a door. So this might actually just be PT, just rebranded. But that what the game was supposed to be.
Well, it was
Which would be
supposed to
pretty
be a
cool.
Silent Hill.
Yeah, so it's not going to be Silent Hill, but basically the same game, just under. a
Oh my
different
god,
name.
dude! Silent Hill by Hideo Kojima would have been wild.
I'm
Yeah,
just
so-
happy with any survival horror. I love that shit.
Oh yeah, I know. Survival horror is great.
It's
Well,
going to be
that's
interesting.
All right.
Jordan and Kojima are two people with very active imaginations.
Dude, they're gonna. It's gonna be like off the walls. I feel it's gonna be
Yeah,
pretty.
I mean, I'm
pretty
happy
fun.
as far as like a director. Like, I've seen all of Jordan Peele's movies, and like the main thing I like about them is the characters tend to make real decisions. You know,
Yeah.
like this character's in this situation. Would you choose to act like an idiot and get killed, or do something smart? And they do something that you can agree with, and that I think is great writing, which you don't see a lot in, especially the horror genre of anything, of games, of movies, of books. Characters do dumb shit to progress the plot along constantly. And so I'm all for a game. I love Resident Evil, but those characters are bricks. And if we can get a horror game where the characters, I'm about this. I'm interested.
Yeah, like his movie Nope, where one of the
Nope.
characters looks at the
Nope.
at the big horror thing, he goes, "Nope," and just leaves.
More than once that happens, but no, it's good. I'm excited for that. I guess I don't really have anything new that's worth like throwing a little review out there for. I've been playing Thymesia. That's okay if you like Dark Souls.
Dark Souls clone.
It is literally. I did not know people made Dark Souls clones that were 1-for-1 copies with different aesthetics. I didn't know that was
Oh,
a
dude.
thing.
I mean,
I've been
I
playing.
would say
one
it's
that's-
more a copy of
Oh, it's Sekiro, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Than
Like it's
Souls,
got all
yeah.
the same stuff.
It's very similar.
I've been playing one that's very similar. I mean, it's not. It does its own stuff, but like it's called Another Crab's Treasure.
Oh, what's
Another
that?
Souls-like game. It's a Souls-like. You play as a crab. He's trying to get his shell back.
I believe it is on Game Pass.
It is,
Ooh.
dude. It is. I've been having a lot of fun. Like it is a pretty
I've heard
decent
good things
Souls-like.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, as far as this subject, I was kind of interested because Lionel, or you like all the gaming news, right? Um, I play a lot of stuff, but soon you play so much different stuff. You have like everything. You have 20
like
minutes to an hour and everything.
I like many different genres, and I like to try many different things. It really depends on what I'm in the mood for, because certain things I'll go back to and I'll play that for like hours.
Is there anything quickly that stuck out to you recently?
Recently, I mean, I just
Just the
started
crab one?
playing more of Path of Acra, which is like
I've never
like
even heard
a
of that.
broke it. So it looks like old ASCII kind of style things, but more like detailed.
Okay.
And it's basically like a broken build simulator.
I don't know
Like
what any of these things mean.
So basically, like you're picking abilities and like fighting through the stages, getting equipment, and your whole goal is to just see if you can make the most broken build possible. And sometimes it works, sometimes it
Oh,
doesn't.
that sounds
Like,
kind of fun.
it is fun, and like a lot of the stuff your character just kind of does on its own. Like you command the attack, and then everything starts chain reacting.
Okay.
There was a turn where I attacked an enemy, and I was sitting still for like 30 seconds straight while everything played out. And I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm living.
Knights of the Round.
It was like, what's happening? It's like, can I play soon?
Is that on Steam or Game Pass?
Yeah, it's on Steam.
Okay, cool. All right. Strider and I played, what was that one we were playing yesterday? Mechabellum?
Mechabellum.
That one's kind of fun. We'll have to play more of that. That's like
That is a game I've been interested in, but never actually did anything with because I don't know. I don't own it, but
it's like Minion Masters or a tower defense, but turn-based and multiplayer. So
is it turn-based?
It's turn-based and PvP and multiplayer, and it's kind of fun. I'm kind of liking it. So
yeah, because the way it works is your unit. You start your round one, you get a random commander, which has some bonuses and a certain amount of starting units. In each turn, you can unlock up to one new unit and buy two, and then whatever you place will auto battle. But when the next round starts, everything you've placed so far becomes locked in. You can't adjust it anymore. But now you can you get either a random item or between 4 choices, or a random unit between 4 forces, depending on the round, because I think it's cycles.
Yeah.
And then you can unlock one more unit or buy 2 more. And you build based on what you saw your opponent play and what you have and what you rolled during your random turn. But everything from the previous rounds is locked in and is still there and will show up on every round. So you have to continue building.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
sounds like kind of like a cascading, like upwards war kind of.
Yeah, it progressively escalates.
Yeah, it just gets bigger and bigger.
Because you do damage to your opponent. The point of the game is to have as many units survive as possible. Because based on the cost of your units and how many of them survived, is how much damage you'll do for winning a round to your opponent. And first one to drain their opponent's HP to 0 wins.
Yeah, and we're still in the beginning stages where nobody knows what things do, so you just build an air unit and they won't build an anti-air unit the whole time.
or they do, but I just built more, and I just simply outswarmed my opponent with AA units.
Yeah, that's fun though, and it's $15, so big bonus.
Yeah, you can never go wrong.
Yeah. But I think that's pretty much all I got for today. You guys got anything else? Any interesting things to yourselves that are worth talking about?
Not really. Not yet.
Nope.
Not at the moment, no.
All right. Well, I'll take that as like a good first session. Went better than it could have gone. That's for sure.
Hell yeah.
It's good to be back because we had we had like 50 episodes or something when all said and done, and I enjoy it. It's nice to talk about this stuff because I like to stay in touch, and you guys are much better at following the news than I am. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you guys so much for doing this, and hopefully we'll try to keep this going and see where it goes.
Oh yeah, we'll have to find some games to review at some point.
Oh yeah, no, I plan on I want to do some dives into like specific companies or specific games that fell apart. I mean, a lot of stuff you can find, there's YouTube video, but I'd like to talk about them anyway,
oh yeah. Well, this would be a fun one.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know about that's like anger inducing. That's I start
It
my
is,
blood
dude.
pressure goes up when I
It
start
is
thinking
so
about
bad.
Blizzard.
I would love to do an episode on FromSoft
Oh
at
yeah,
some
no,
point,
I'm about it.
Yeah, FromSoft is a very interesting studio.
since they're definitely one of my all-time favorite studios, and have constantly put out the most consistently best, like, good games I can think of.
Yeah.
Average, like, if you want a solid seal of quality, I don't think anyone really beats From Software.
I
Yeah, they're
think
pretty consistent in their delivery.
I agree with you. Like some people hate those games, and I think they just got to get good because those games. There's no other line of games I've played where I felt better upon completing stuff. Like the gameplay loop is just so like it just gives you that serotonin booster, and you just feel so
Yeah.
good.
That's one of the main draws of Souls-likes, man, is when you finally overcome that hill.
They literally made a genre. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
how
they
good they
did.
were.
They made a genre.
created a genre.
Fantastic. All right. Well, like I said, thank you guys so much, and we'll come back and do this again real soon.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.